there's rumors going around that the Batman Arkham game is a reboot instead of a sequel. Now, I have it somewhere. Where do I have it? I don't. There we go. So I have. If you're watching the YouTube cutout, it's 5 reasons why the what Arkham Reboot needs to do to stand out or be good, or just what it needs in general. There's 6. I picked 5 because one, I only thought I was gonna have 5, and 2, 5 is just a more sexier number for the video, right? And the title. 6 is a weird number. 5 you see it all the time. Top 5s, top 10s, things like that. Top 6s you don't really see. So that's the rumor going. I'm fine that it's a reboot. Cool. That's the Arkham series is kind of done. It ended in a way where I didn't know if they're continuing. Spoilers for Arkham Knight. 5 seconds. I'll take a drink. They reveal Batman as Bruce Wayne. And he's on the run and everything like that. I didn't think there was much of a story there. And we've heard lots of rumors about this, that at one point this game was about Damian Wayne. At one point it was a follow-up to Arkham. At one point it was a prequel. So we've heard all this stuff. But then this report came out that it's a reboot, but it still might have the Arkham name, which is kind of strange. So I don't know. It's tough, right? Because that's the thing. Do I believe it? I think I do, but do you really want to lose? I thought the Arkham prequel was the better route to go, because even myself, who is not a fan of prequels, and especially Arkham Origins, didn't make much sense. They kind of changed some things from the other Arkham games that didn't really flesh well. So I get that you want to have an open canvas and do whatever you want. I just think if you call it Arkham, you're feeling like you're in that universe. So if it is a reboot, just a full on, we're starting over, even if it's called Arkham, and the rumors are still going that it is Court of Owls based. That's a big thing. That's the big thing I was going to say. And you know what? Maybe to keep it a top 5, I will put these 2 together. So there you go. I'm cheating right on the spot. So my 5th thing that you need, number 5, as far as what does an Arkham reboot need? New villains, old villains expanded upon. So someone like, Professor Pig or Jervis Tech as the Mad Hatter. People that were in the Arkham games but had smaller side quest roles, or even you could do a great story if you think about like Doc Ock in the Spider-Man games. If you did a great story with Man-Bat and Kirk Langstrom and how he becomes Man-Bat, and maybe you're his friend or maybe you're just working with him and you have to hunt him down. It's a bit more personal other than just him attacking in the sky. I think you need to do that. New villains, that's great. Even Professor Pig was in the last game. Someone like that would be good. You haven't really touched upon... I guess you've touched upon Roz. I was gonna say more Talia al Ghul and stuff like that, but that's fine. Black Mask you haven't really touched upon. He got done so dirty in Arkham Origins, so I'd like a redone of that. But Court of Owls is the way to go. I think that's a perfect story. If they adapt that comic book, the set pieces in the game are nuts and would be fantastic. So especially the maze thing, imagine what you could do. They did some great trippy stuff in all those games, especially the first one with Scarecrow and the last one with Joker when he became Joker and you saw the Jokers and whatnot. There was some great mind-bending stuff. So I think the Court of Owls provide that in many ways. And this is the asterisk as well for this. That's why I made it 5, because this was a single point by itself, but I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. He's one of my favorite characters. I'm looking at 2 posters of him right now. An actor just won an Oscar playing him. Joker. Leave him out. You could do an end credit scene, allude to the Joker. Maybe that's the end credit scene of the game is maybe there's a mission where you're after somebody and you knock somebody in a pile, like you're in Ace Chemicals and you knock them in there. Set them up, sure. Don't put them in there. That was the frustrating thing. I guess not in 2 ways, but so Black Mask, like I said, was the villain Arkham Origins, but then it was just revealed it was Joker under the Black Mask, and he had taken over Rome Cyanus, like shoved him away somewhere. So that was disappointing, and it wasn't disappointing because in Arkham Knight the story is done so well. But at first, it didn't feel like a cheat, but they killed him off in City, and they're like, oh, he's not coming back. He's definitely dead. And then he's with you the entire game. Now, I loved that aesthetic, and I love the idea. You know me. I love the whole Jiminy Cricket scenario, so I give them pass because the story was great. But at first when it came, I was like, the Joker again. And even that story has a lot of Joker-centric moments, right? So, no Joker. Even when Batman Telltale, and I get it, everybody I feel like that loves Batman wants to tell Batman and Joker story. I feel like everyone has a different version or version with a little differences of that relationship and that character. So I get it. And if they do it, I won't be mad. And I love seeing Joker. I love seeing different interpretations. I even love that Telltale one they just did. So that's why if it's something really different, sure, not damage Jared Leto. But I think for right now, you put him on the back burner and you wait and you focus on making a great Batman game without Joker. And that's a task in itself. Two, the combat stays. The reason I say this, I think they just have to fine tune it a bit because in Origins, it didn't feel as smooth as Asylum and City. It just felt like something was a little bit off, whether it was the countering or the smoothness of it. I don't know. So one, even in Origins, I like the combat that has to stay, but two, it has to be freshened up a bit, or at least made to be comparable to the other games. I think that's the reason of with it hearing it's a reboot. I don't want to lose that. I don't think they would, but imagine if they put out that game and didn't have that combat system, those gadgets. No, that would be a big no. So I think that's what they need to do. The combat needs to stay and it needs to be fine tuned. So that's number 2. Number 3, I know this sounds pretty obvious, but is a great story. The reason I say that is because I think Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, fantastic stories. I think Arkham Knight is the Joker stuff and whatnot, that's a fantastic story. The Arkham Knight, that was a little underwhelming. We kind of all knew where that was going. I'm fine with adapting stories, but then if you're going to adapt them, you fully adapt it. And spoilers for Arkham Knight. Arkham Knight ended up being Jason Todd, who was the Red Hood. If you're going to do that story and adapt it, you need to set up and not be tongue-in-cheek of like, oh, Arkham Knight is a new character, but really we're just going to throw in Death of the Family here, and we're doing a Death Family game. I would rather them just start that way. And when all this game is about, this game is about Red Hood. That's what I would rather. So none of this big twist that I don't think anybody, unless you're a smaller child who doesn't have experience with Death Family, or a newer fan, I shouldn't say that, but just if you don't know that story, anybody that was hardcore into Batman that was playing these games, that was a slap in the face if you thought that was like a reveal, right? So they need a great story. And the other reason I say is because Origins was, to me, a very weak story. I don't think the Joker as Black Massing really worked. I think the Bane stuff was fine. The best stuff was Deathstroke, and the story was good, but that was more about the fights. And the thing is, for me, that was always weird, is that they already felt like they want to make their own world, because there's a lot of ties or things like that to me didn't really fit with the Arkham Asylum and City games. So this is a prequel, and to me it just didn't fit in that box or didn't even feel like that world. So that's why for me I worry if they can't even make it fit with that one. You could make the case that they have their own world, they can do whatever they want. True, but the fact that they couldn't kind of adhere to what they were trying to make a prequel of kind of worries me a little bit. And that story to me stays the least with me, other than it's about Batman's year one, right? That's cool, but it's not a year one story that's up there. There's been many stories in Arkham Asylum and whatnot. Arkham Asylum, the video game, is up there. Maybe it's the best story ever told there. This didn't add anything more to the origin, which is tough, but it can happen. Number 4, if you're doing reboot, new voice cast. I can't believe I'm saying this because I always I want Kevin Conroy as my Batman because he's the best Batman, and I want Mark Hamill as my Joker. I just think you got to go with a new vibe, new take, and some people might be disappointed. I don't want the guy from Life on Mars. I don't want the guy that's doing it right now in the DC animated movies. I like him as actor, Jason O'Mara, I think his name is. He is not right for Batman, in my opinion. I'm always disappointed when I see his name in the credits. It just does not feel like Batman. And I've heard other Batmans that aren't Kevin Conroy that I like. I just think it feels like someone trying to be Batman. So, but that's my biggest thing is you gotta get a new voice cast, change it up. Even if that's why some people won the Batman Beyond game. That would have been great to get him, Kevin Conroy's old Bruce Wayne. But I don't think that's happening. So make it your own style. Make it same way we talked about with the story, as far as the world, the looks of the character. If you do Joker, that's fine. I don't want damage, but do a different look. Don't make it Mark Hamill's Joker from the Arkham games, right? Even though you're going to be calling it Arkham. Maybe we can say that Arkham Origins was really a prequel to this game. Maybe that's what's going to happen. So, new voice cast, really studied out. The last few games were about kind of being almost like a continuation or a tribute to the animated series. Don't do that. Make your own path. Number 5, the biggest thing. I don't think this is going to happen, but I got to say it. If the very, very light on Batmobile. Because the last game, love the Batmobile. Love the way it controls. Love everything about it. It was a fun aesthetic to have and a fun mechanic. And just be it light as far as do not make it what Arkham Knight did, where almost every second level is there's a bunch of tanks, there's a bunch of cars. Oh shoot, this is how the finale of the Batman game is. You have a tank and you're just shooting a bunch of guys down, tanks down. So boring. It's one of the biggest things that takes down Arkham Knight so many notches, and it's so disappointing for the finale of that franchise, right? For Rocksteady, we don't know what they're working on. Maybe they're working on another Batman game. I doubt it. I think it's gonna be something else, but very disappointing. So don't go down that route. I'd love to see the Batmobile, but I guess that's number 5. Is use the Batmobile wisely. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see like a Bat bike, kind of Nolan-esque. I'd love to see the plane. I'd love to see the boat, but it's more likely the bike or the mobile is gonna happen, right? Or it's gonna be in play. I think it might not even be there. They might not take on that challenge because they didn't do it in their last game, but you never know. You got Corral, so there's lots of running around Gotham, so maybe you're gonna be finding them driving after them. Who knows? But if it is, use it well, use it sparingly, and use it right, because that was not the case in Arkham Knight. So those are my 5. That's what I think is needed for the game. 5, 6, Let me know below what you think. If there's something you want, something you don't want, if you want Raw, because we've heard rumors that's a multiplayer, you want Rob and a Nightwing. Let me know what y'all think down below, or in Twitter and Facebook. And yeah, I'm very excited. I just want an announcement. I want this game to come out because I am very, very excited for it. But it's just, I'm tired of every Games Award, Gamescom. We get nothing. Finally, this will be a quick one because I'm honestly a little behind in comic books, and I'm behind this right now, but it's obviously made shockwaves in the internet that Batman and Catwoman are having a kid. Catwoman is pregnant. So the reason I say this, the preferences as far as I have not read the actual comic book. I've read the Tom King, most of his run, and I haven't read the last 3 or 4 issues of it. I read it for the Batman, and I should say this, the Bruce and Selina stuff. I think Tom King, who is a really good writer, I loved his Vision run. I think he is really great at writing the Bruce and Selina stuff. Maybe one of the best ever, honestly. He's up there with Jim Lee, but the Batman stuff for me was never the greatest. When he did that first run of like the kind of the Wonder Twins or whatever kind of knockoff, the War of Joke and Riddles, I was never a fan of his Batman stuff. And that's why I felt less obliged to read it. That's why I'm behind. Where Scott Snyder, I love everything he does. I think he's one of the best Batman writers ever. He's top 3 for me, easily. I think he does everything well. But with this, I love the Bruce and Selina dynamic, so I was a big fan of that. So I'm gonna finish that, and obviously got spoiled. That's fine, but it's just more the idea of I've kind of see a band about like, is this a good idea? I don't see why not. You can say I'm biased for 2 reasons. 1, Catwoman was my first ever crush with Michelle Pfeiffer, and 2, I love that relationship. But I think that's why this is a new dynamic, because Batman's been going for what, over 70 years. Catwoman's been around for a while. What more can you do? And obviously, Tom Kim was doing a great job as fleshing out the relationship, finding out this yin and yang, like really yin and yang, to not someone, like Love is Blind saying, you're the yin and my yang. Like, no, Selina trying to deal with, hey, I want to be with you. I love you, Bruce Wayne, because, there is a darkness in me. There's darkness in you. But together we can kind of somehow get in, like, it sounds weird, but kind of like double negative and create some sort of light and be that bounce for each other. But then there was a point where she didn't marry him or couldn't be with him because she felt, what if I married Bruce Wayne? Will that take Batman out of Gotham? And Gotham needs Batman because look at it, right? So there was great dynamics that he plays. So that's why I do trust Tom King. And like I said, his Batman stuff I was never always the biggest fan of, but the Bruce Wayne Selina stuff he knocked out of the park. And I think that we've not seen him with a kid of his own, and that's where people might push back. Oh, you like adopted children, Dick and Tim. I get it, but seeing Bruce with a baby, it's a trope. Many people have done it. Dexter did it, putting him with dark characters, a baby. But it is something, because when we got introduced to Damien, he was a 10-year-old already, so it was kind of just Robin all over again. This is going to be very different. This is going to be a good dynamic for him, but also a great dynamic for Selina. Selina's my favorite female character of all time, and I'm a big Batman guy. For a character like that has been through so much, that is constantly, she's been a bit better now because her and Bruce, like I said, have found that balance, but still that, I imagine they're going to butt heads a lot when they parent. And I imagine that could lead their divorce. But this is a run that I think opens up so many possibilities. If you're not into that stuff, that's fine. If you're into the Batman breaking bones, I don't know if this will be for you. But Tom King, I think he does better at the personal stuff. I think you look at that Vision run. I think he does good with family things. I think he does good things with a relationship. That, what if you are put in the situation with these characters? How would they react? Many times if it's, hey, I got your friend captured and this is a new trap. We've kind of seen that before, and I think some people can do it very smart and very well done. And I don't know if he achieved that or even stuff with his villains. Like I wasn't a big fan of his Riddler and Joker, so he didn't bring anything new, or he did bring some stuff new, stuff that I didn't really care for. But these dynamics, relationship dynamics, personal dynamics, I think he nails, and that's why I think Bruce having a kid, how's that gonna, just the simple, him being a crime fighter, him fighting Gotham, how's that gonna happen? What's it gonna be like being a parent? He's gonna be lots of flashbacks to his dad and Martha, and Thomas. So that'll be good. And Selena, same thing. Very different life. Is she gonna be worried about hurting this child? Is she gonna worry about Bruce softening this child? How's even just Alfred gonna be with this baby? There's so much fun stuff, and I'm obviously somebody that has two kids, so I might be a bit more open to it than other people. But I think there's lots of great routes, and this right away, the second I saw it, I went, okay, one, I love you, Tom King, because he got them married, so that was finally, and then two, he made this happen, stuff that I would be doing because I love these two. But three, it's just that made me go, okay, there's so much to play with here with both characters. I went, okay, I got to read the last three and I got to get into this. And I'm very excited. I trust Tom King with this route of Batman, and I think it's a good idea because it adds something new to the fold. It adds something fresh. It adds a different coat of paint and dynamic for both those characters. You potentially create another new character. That comic's going to be huge when that baby's born. We're going to learn the name and everything like that. I wonder if it is going to be Thomas or Martha. Who knows? But yeah, I'd give the stamp of approval because even then, I don't just approve of everything. Batman, Catwoman, and Joker. It has to be good, and I think there has to be reason behind it. I think there's reason to explore this route for both characters, and that is the good thing. I don't feel like it's just a gimmick. I don't feel. Some people might have thought the wedding was a little bit of a gimmick, and I think it was, or it felt that way when the wedding happened, and then it didn't happen because there was a whole story with Bane and whatnot, but. That did feel like the classic comic book of, oh, you said this big reveal, this big wedding's gonna happen, and like a soap opera, they left and couldn't do it. I did feel like, and I stopped, I dropped off for a little while after that because I did feel, okay, this is gimmicky, and you just want to push some sales. If she's pregnant, which she is, and if she loses that baby again, I will feel, oh, this is just to push ratings. That'll kill me if they do that, and I will probably, honestly, if they do the whole, oh, you lose a baby because of crime fighter or something like that and what could have been, there might be some good stuff that would probably lose me. That would be it with me, and I'd be again kind of very disappointed in Tom King. And I shouldn't say I'm very disappointed in Tom King. I just, when he got Batman, I was very excited, and it just didn't reach my hypes, but the Bruce Selena stuff did. So